Good morning, Suzuki Science, grade 11. So this is it. This is our final lesson of the course. This is week 11, and we have done 3 parts to the systems unit. It started off with digestion, then we went into respiration, and now we're doing circulation. We have talked about circulation already several times because it's impossible to talk about any of the systems without really involving the circulatory system, as it is responsible for moving gases, nutrients, hormones, wastes, and so on from point A to point B. So I'm going to give you an overview of what the week's going to look like, and then I'm going to give a very detailed account of how oxygen or food comes from the outside, it goes throughout your body, respiratory or digestive system, where the connection occurs, and how it gets to the muscles of your toe or your finger or whatever. So taking a look at your week, so it's Monday, and you have until Friday to complete this. However, if you feel you cannot complete the culminating task on Friday, just let me know. Next week we're not going to be doing any real work. We'll just be fun and games of some sort. So if you need more time, please take it. And as usual, if you find that you're overwhelmed with everything that's been going on and your brain is just not working anymore, then there's no pressure. I've sent out some kind of update of where you stand in the course, what your lowest mark can be, generally what your highest mark can be, assuming that you complete certain things, and you get to decide, right? So no pressure, right? For most of you, you're doing this because you genuinely enjoy bio, and systems happens to most likely be, in most cases, your favorite of the units. So when you look at this document here, you'll see the circulation lesson sequence. I've given you this graphic, and I have nothing associated with this graphic. It's just here for interest. If you're curious what the average heart rate might be, minute and max, for various animals, you'll notice that there should be a relationship between the size of the animal and the heart rate. That's your reflection question. Then I give you an engage, which is around free diving, which is unreal, that the longest breath that can be held is 24 minutes. Does that even make sense? The average person can probably hold their breath for what? How long? They say an average number. I certainly can't do it. Maybe you can. So go ahead, hold your breath and time it. Let us know how long you can hold your breath for. We're going back to the Padlet exercise here. So it's actually going to be the same Padlet used before. You'll notice that I've taken all your little notes, your sticky notes, and I've moved them from where they originally were down here somewhere. So you're going to make up the new Padlet, and in the new Padlet you're going to have 2 organs. In the first scenario, I'd like you to tell me put yourself in the correct order. So put your little notes in the correct order, and you're going to show me how you're going to get food from your burger or your salad to your muscles. How does that energy get from the outside to your muscles? And that will involve many of these, but not necessarily all of these. So you're going to have to use some. And then later in the week, as you guys complete that first task, that first flow, I'll give you another one, and I'll see if you can do that, and I'll take it up, what's right, what's wrong. Okay, so the circulation PowerPoint, it's kind of like the other previous PowerPoints. That's where the majority of the learning is going to occur. And you'll notice I've color-coded like I have everything else. There's quite a bit of green and yellow, not very many purple, because just the nature of this lesson. I haven't put any specific Google Meet slides in here, but if you have any interest in meeting, I'll put up some interesting things around maximum ability to, I guess maybe the volume of oxygen you can hold in your blood, and where does the excess oxygen come from? How's a seal able to hold its breath for such a long time? It doesn't, but it seems to. And I'll put some Google Meet slides in there that if you're interested in knowing the answer, we can talk about it and see what's going on. So that's your circulation PowerPoint. And then these questions here are all based on most of the PowerPoint. In some cases, you have to do excess research. There's quite a few green questions. If you're doing the worksheet, so the worksheet is secondary. This week, the major task is the end of unit task, which I'll show you in just a moment. If you're going through the worksheet, please note that where it says general questions, you'll see a red title here, components of the circulatory system, and a red title here, heart structure, heart circulation, and cardiac cycle. And those are questions all about the structure of the circulatory system. And if you answer those questions, then evidently you know something about the structure. Alternatively, like you did in the digestive system, you can do this section here So if you do this paragraph, you're going to show the flow of how blood carries oxygen and carbon dioxide around the body. And if you do this in the form of a video presentation, sketch note, whatever, flowchart, then that replaces those two red bolded titles I just mentioned. Okay? And then notice we get to purple. Gases and circulation right here, that's a purple, because that's, you know, I would teach it in class if we had time. We don't have time, but it's very interesting to learn about it. And, you know, so carbon monoxide poisoning, altitude sickness, you know, fetal circulation, those sorts of things. This would be one of the purple Google Meets, actually, if I were going to meet with you and I explain a lot of this stuff. And then other animals. So this connects with the diversity unit. So if we were in class, this would have been a definite coverage, but now in the, you know, our reduced timing here, it's just extra stuff. If you're interested, some of this you already know because we talked about the diversity of life in a limited extent, and many organisms respire in a different way than humans. So you can go to this special lab here and you'll see the simulation of all these other circulatory systems with single chamber hearts, 2, 3, or 4 chamber hearts. And so all these questions here, that's the title. All these questions here relate to that title. So they're all purple. Heart conduction. This is the electrical activity of the heart. It's one of the slides or two of the slides on the PowerPoint. You just kind of copy and paste, but, you know, retype it in your own words, and that demonstrates your understanding. And then the cardiology virtual lab, which again is purple. You go take a look, play with it if you'd like. And then the culminating task. So in the culminating task, you are assigned a disease. So normally I let you pick. This time I just assigned it to make it easier and we don't have to wait for anybody to do anything. If you're not happy with your assignment, you can trade with somebody. So you just have to contact them and see if they want to trade with you. Otherwise, Amina, you're doing arthrosclerosis, for example. And what that means is you have this very small PowerPoint or any kind of presentation. I don't really care what format you use. On slide 1, you're going to give you the name, the system it affects, so respiratory, digestive, or circulatory. And of course include some representative picture. In slide 2's, because it might be more than one slide, the background information. Be very specific as to what system it affects. Each of these diseases affects a very specific system. Having said that, once you've explained the background of the disease and, you know, the causes and how you might cure or fix it, then in slide 4 here, I'm asking you to also go from its primary system that it affects to the other 2 systems. Because I want you to, this is a culminating activity, so it should be able to connect to all 3 systems. And you can make that connection. If it's a respiratory disease, then that means the circulatory system is not going to be able to carry as much oxygen, for example, or there'll be too much byproducts from excess metabolism or something. I don't know. I'm just making up the top of my head here. And then slide 3 is a diagram, which you'll probably just copy from the internet somewhere and then paste it in, make sure you reference it, all that. So that's this very short PowerPoint, very, very short. This is the major part here. You're going to create a case study. You're going to create your own case study. So you've done a case study at the beginning of the course. We've done several case studies in the various lessons. So now you get to create your own. And your case study must be for a person who has your disease. If you don't know how that case study should look, you can scroll down to the bottom, and I've given you 3 examples. This is a case study of celiac disease. This is a case study of it's a pulmonary disorder, a respiratory disorder, and here is lactose intolerance. So, I should have put I have digestion, respiration. I should have put a circulation one here. I didn't. Well, maybe I will. So these are 3 samples of case studies, so you can read through them and get a feel for what a case study might look like. These are all level 4s, okay? So you can create a case study, and then your case study is going to be submitted into the course collaborative document on Thursday, and it will be linked to the lesson in the Google Classroom, and I might put a link in the document itself. We'll see if I'm able to. When you are finished your case study and you've submitted it on Thursday, then on Friday, you're going to go back into this collaborative document that I'm going to have, well, an individual document. A document will look something like this. And in here, you're going to have 22 different diseases. They're all case studies, right? But they lack the identification. But each of these case studies corresponds with a case that I've assigned in the class. That means there's an expert for every single one of those case studies. And in some cases, like bronchitis, emphysema, you have 2 experts. Okay? I know that not everybody in the class is going to do this, so there's going to be some places where it'll be blank and we'll have no expert, unfortunately. Oh well. So on Thursday, you'll post up your case study with the answer. Anyone can read it, and they'll get a feel. And then by the end of Friday, you will go in individually. At this point, I don't care. But on your document, I'm asking you to identify for a minimum, well, the minimum, you're not even doing the case study. That's green. If you want the complete, then you're going to identify at least 1 respiratory, 1 digestive, and 1 circulatory disease. If you're looking for exemplary, then you're identifying at least 2 respiratory, at least 2 digestive, at least 2 circulatory. Okay? So that means you'd go through here and you try to identify number 2. So let's say you identify number 2 as being gallstones. So if this is gallstones, then what you do is what I would do is I'd go and look to see who's got gallstones on here. Nobody has gallstones, so gallstones must not be one of them. But let's say number 2 was asthma. So if number 2 was asthma, then I'd probably go to Nadia and say, can you take a look at this number 2? Is that asthma? Because you're the expert, you did the research. And then she'd be like, oh yeah, there's this. It's asthma. You're good to go. Right? So help each other out, and it'll be a very effective way to collaborate around this. And once you're done and you've identified it, it'll be on your document that you will include in your submission. So your submission is your case study that goes into the collaborative document, but you're also including your worksheet, because I'm not going to go to 6 different places, and the identified diseases. And if you identify it with some other people, maybe just let me know, so that way I am not marking 6 things that are the same thing. I can just mark it once and like, oh, okay, Kavisha did this, and Charmy did this, and Danica did this, and Zed did this together. Good, all 4 of you, check, done. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to end this introduction, and I'm going to go into the next video lesson, which is going to give the details of circulation.